Hi guys. So I wanted to do a share today on how I created my banner for my daughter's room for Halloween. I had a comment about, first time crafters, well, not first time crafters, but like beginner crafters being on a budget, this kind of thing, wanting all the dies in the world and not having them. So I wanted to share with you how you could create the fishtail banners to your liking or your sizing. And maybe if you want to do these by hand, you can spend whatever your monthly budget is on other dies. So, and then build your stash from there, knowing that you don't have to have this die set to create the base of your project. I hope that made sense. So I'm going to show you the fishtail banner. I'm going to give you the measurements of the two that I used from this die set. And then I'm going to give you an alternative for like a simpler, more square, not like 3/8, 1/8, 5/8 kind of thing. Okay, so let me just put that aside. What I did was I cut out the two pieces and then I measured them, the two biggest pieces. And then from there, you can go down in size based on the measurements that I've given you, depending on how much of a border you want when you nest them on top of each other. So the two that I had cut out, the base was, let's see if that's better. The base was 3 1/8 by 5 1/8. And when I drew the line down the middle, it wound up being 1 9/16. So I drew the line down the middle so that I could draw from the points to cut that. And then this piece was 2 3/4 this way by 4 5/8. And then when I measured the middle, it wound up being 1 3/8. And I drew that line just so that I can draw a line from the points to the middle of that line. I hope that makes sense. So then what you want to do is when you cut okay, so you wind up exactly with, now I didn't line that up exactly right there, but you'll do a better job, be more precise. I just wanted to give you the basics so that you can see that you don't need a whole lot of products to create simple projects. Okay, so based on those specific measurements of the actual dies, this is what you wind up with. You can put them on top of each other. You have a nice border and be on your way. So if you don't want to be that specific, wondering where the 16th marks are on the scoreboard or the cutting, whatever you're using to cut your paper, I made a simpler version that you can also use. So the alternative could be to cut, now you don't even need a paper trimmer. You can measure with a ruler and cut out paper with your scissors and just have some glue or tape. And you don't need fancy materials if you don't want to A, spend the money, or B, just, are budgeting for other things before you spend the money on a trimmer. I hope that makes sense, right? So this piece is 3 by 5. And then I just drew the line at the 1 1/2 inch mark for, just to guide me on the fishtails. Excuse me. And then because I want it to be matted, I just took 1/4 inch away. So this piece is 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so the first piece is 3 by 5. And the second piece is 2 3/4 by 4 3/4, making the middle 1 3/8. Okay, so you can just, you know, draw your pencil line, and then again, I sort of drew and measured some lines, but as I'm looking at it, it doesn't look perfect, but looks good. Okay. Oops. Okay. So, let me just move that aside. So now what you have here, again, when you nest it on top of each other, you have your nested pennants. Okay, so that would be the base of your project. Now, if you didn't have a circle punch or a nested die, you know, circle die, you can skip that altogether. You can cut a piece of paper that's like a rectangle and put it across here. You can cut a circle by hand by tracing a glass and cutting around it and base, you know, put that down. It's super easy. And I know this has all been shared, I'm sure, before, but, you know, it doesn't hurt to see that, you know, you can do these things, and it doesn't hurt to see someone else's version of how they set it up. So then for the rosettes, as far as these dies go, yes, they can get costly, and no, you don't need them. You can even make your own sizes based on the width of the paper. So what I did was I cut one piece of paper at 1 inch by 12, and just to show you what the differences are. And this one is 1.5 inches by 12. Okay, so then again, you do not need a scoreboard, but what I did was I put this here and I scored every 1/4 inch. Okay, you can score at 1/2 inch. You're just going to get a different type of rosette, like a different looking flower. Same thing with this one. I put it on the 12-inch side, and every 1/4 mark I scored. You do not need a scoreboard. You can do it again with a ruler and your bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, you can take like the end of a pen and, you know, score it on your ruler. Okay, so then what I also did was I punched out some circles for the base, the underside of the rosette, to keep, you know, to hold it together. So once you have these, you're going to just start folding on your score marks. If you do not have paper that's a solid core, like when you score it and fold it, it's white, the white shines through, it's no problem. You can just take some ink and ink it depending on, you know, what your taste is, or if you don't mind. It really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? To cover up the white showing through there, if that bothers you. If not, you just score away, make your rosette. I know I'm going a little too fast. Okay, let's see if it's going to focus. Okay, so I've just been pleating it. You can go like that, then the score mark, fold over, fold again, and what you're creating are these little peaks and valleys. Okay, so when you're done, you wind up with a piece like this. And see, you can darken these and you don't see the little fray marks. Now, when you fold your flower over like this, I like to cut one of these little pieces off so that it's not glued like this. I like to kind of nest it over like that. So I'm just going to cut off one of these, and it makes no difference. Like, it's not going to be noticeable, and it makes no difference to the flower itself. It doesn't ruin it. Okay, so let me just see if this is going to focus so that I can glue it. Okay. Okay. I like to use wet glue on this portion, just because I find sometimes if I use a glue dot, or I thought I unclogged it. Oh, the cap is on. So sometimes I feel like if I use tape runner or a glue dot, it just it doesn't stay. Okay, so then I'm just going to connect the two pieces. And hold it there just for a minute. Line it up. Make sure that you don't want to go over the score mark, because if you go over the score mark, when you fold this flower over, it's going to buckle. So you kind of just want to go as close to the score mark as you can. Okay, see how that's glued right there? Very close to the score mark, but not going over. Okay, and then I just kind of hold it there for a minute. Okay, and then what you wind up with is this. This is the 1.5 inch one that I did. Okay, so then you're going to take this piece, and you're going, what I do is I center it like this, and I kind of push, and then you were going to glue it down. So I kind of practice a couple of times just to get the paper to go that way. And I don't go super fast, because if you put like enough glue, like if you put a big blob, the glue is kind of going to stay, you know, it's not going to dry up right away. So what I do is I kind of put the glue right in the middle. I don't worry about, you know, all the ends. Okay, then I put it over. This takes practice for sure. Okay, and then I hold it down. Okay, I hold it down, and then when it's been like a few seconds, I kind of try to pick it up and then press it again. Now, because the back side is not going to be seen, I'm not going to worry if this circle is kind of off center, because once you glue this down, it's going to have extra stability. So what you wind up with is this. Now, if you cut your paper at 1.5, you're going to have a 3-inch rosette. So let's do this one. I'm going to kind of train my paper a couple of times. Okay. I'm going to put my little blob of glue. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and press down. Okay. And while the glue is wet, you can kind of, you know, fan out your flower, your rosette. If there's too much going on here, you can kind of fan it out, even it out. Okay, like that. And then I like to pick it up, kind of squish the glue around a little bit more. And there you have it. So that's going to make a 2-inch just about, and a 3-inch. So I hope this has helped you. And if you have any other questions, please let me know. I'm happy to share. I will put the measurements in the description box as well. And I hope this shows you that, you know, you don't feel that you need all the supplies in the world to create some of the stuff that you see being shared on YouTube. So you can build your stash slowly and feel comfortable knowing that you can do certain things by hand. So thumbs up if you like this video, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. Take care. See you soon.